Good afternoon, everybody. This is your correspondent, Alan Taylor. We back again with some more of this good news in the joint. Let's see here. We talking about brother Andrew Tate. He's on Tucker Carlson, pretty much, and enlightening people. Andrew Tate's, you know, message has been out there, and let's just see what's going on here.
Until a couple months ago, we'd never heard of him. And then the other day, virtually every tech company on the planet banned him. Not just his presence, but also his ability to conduct business on the internet. He was taken off Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. Then they started telling you that not only was he not allowed to talk, but you weren't allowed to like him because he was an incredibly bad person. And our view on that always is we'll decide for ourselves, since we're adults and Americans, and we'll listen to anyone we want. We'll come to any conclusion we care to come to about what that person is about. So we sat down at some length and talked to Andrew Tate, and we wanted to show you some of it so you could make up your own mind, which you're still allowed to do as far as we're concerned. Here's part of the interview.
I don't really feel like I've exposed anything. Like, I'm truly not a very political person. This is the first time someone's experienced this level of ban. I'm not particularly right-wing. I don't vote. I mean, I obviously have my own personal views, but they didn't ban me for that. They banned me simply because I had large swaths of the population agreeing to very traditional masculine values. Teenage men and young men, 22, 23, 24, were looking up to me and aspiring to be like me. I have a very traditionally masculine life. I have fast cars and a big house and a lot of money and a beautiful girlfriend. And they thought this was very, very threatening. And for some reason, they decided that it's better if they annihilate me from the internet and replace me with somebody who's more aligned with whatever they're trying to purport.
Tell us what your message.
First off, freedom of speech. Come on now, people. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know about other countries and their constitutions or however they move, but here in the U.S., you do have the freedom of speech. This is something that's being slowly but surely taken away from us. You know what I'm saying? And it's not right. That's bad business. That's bad. That's bad. Period. You can't speak on what you want to speak on, because nowadays everything is surrounded by feelings. You don't want to hurt this person feeling, that person, this business feelings. How does a business have feelings? But let's just.
Message is to young men.
Yeah, so I think that being a man is very, very difficult. I think that men's issues are largely overlooked. The people in charge of the world pretend to care, but when somebody who's championing men's issues like myself comes forward and finally manages to garner huge percentiles of the public support, I'm silenced. So They're not really interested in men's issues. And there's a lot of young men growing up today that feel very disaffected. They feel invisible. The agendas that are being forced down their throats are not agendas they align with or they feel affinity to or agendas they want. And I basically just say to men, look, it's a very hard life. You're going to need to get up, work hard, go to the gym. Strong body is a strong mind. You're going to have to reject listening blindly to everything you're told, reject the slave mind, think for yourself, get a strong network of brothers, work aside them. Don't tolerate low quality people in your life, which means don't tolerate men who just smoke drugs and play video games, or men who are disloyal or dishonest. By extension, don't tolerate women or girlfriends who are disloyal or dishonest, and try and build and create a reality full of high quality people in which you can resist the programming that the Matrix tries to influence you with, and grow up truly happy. And what happens is when I say these things, they ignore 95% of what I say. They ignore me saying that you need to avoid low quality men, and they take the bit where I say avoid women who are dishonest, and then they put it on a reel, a very short 3 or 4 second clip, and then they say I'm a misogynistic person and I'm dangerous to women and I need to be banned.
And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. You're taking small clips and then just projecting this out into the air, just shooting it out there like somewhere, just like old school cowboy style in the Wild West, just shooting wherever you want to shoot. No, this is ridiculous. That people can't speak their minds anymore without, you know, this cancel culture or whatever it's called. Like, you know, to canceling who? It makes no sense. You know, none of this is logical thinking. All of it is fairy tale trajectory, and you know, it's just, you know, tomfoolery for a bunch of foolishness. It's foolishness. You know, times in past, I would sit down with my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran. He fought in World War II. He helped the Allies tremendously. You know, a World War II veteran. I still have his flag sitting in the house. Matter of fact, I probably would take a picture of his flag and then post it on this channel so you can clearly see that I have a real flag, an American flag that was presented to a World War II veteran upon his burial. No, them individuals back in the day, they knew what the Constitution meant, stood for, whether they had different racial issues or whatever, but those men that came from the United States Army and armed forces back then that fought in World War II, they collectively came together to pretty much help save what we were trying to build over here in America. And it's a shame, it's a travesty that we've come to a point to where we can't even speak our minds anymore, to where we can't even tell our own individual truths. Everybody else that seemed like they could tell their truths, but you know, you want to stop men from being able to tell how they think about the way that life has been going for all these thousands of years, hundreds of years, until now, till we come into this fictitious way of thinking, and we think that we, you know, have everything wrapped up, and we're trying to remake the wheel when that's impossible. The wheel has already been made. Suck it up. It is what it is. The wheel has already been made.
The problem is that the majority of young men in the world today are completely invisible. And social media has made them invisible. If you go into an Instagram feed, you have extremely beautiful women, which is fine. They're beautiful, they're allowed to take pictures. But the only men who have followers are men with massive social status, right? Men with Ferraris and money, or rappers, or people who have YouTube channels, interesting people. If you're a normal man with a normal...
Because the women nowadays are all seeking that mass amount of class, the 20% of men that exist. Now listen, look, of course, you know, I'm not blaming nobody, because I have a daughter and I want her to marry the best man that she possibly can. Do not get it twisted. I really do. But the thing of it is, it's a fine line between trying to get the best deal that you can get and you're just being fucking greedy.
Job. You don't really exist in the online world. It's very difficult to get followers. Nobody replies to your DMs. You don't really matter. You don't have access to the sexual marketplace. It's very difficult for you to even get any kind of recognition that you're even alive.
And as far as, let's go back to what he just said, you know, being able to, for a large amount of men being able to have access to the sexual marketplace. Okay, you know, like Coach Greg Adams said, you know, the barbarians are at the gate, and and of course, you know, I understand that logic, but my version of barbarians is at the gate is that, you know what I'm saying, you have cut out 80-something% of the men, leaving 20% of the men to really defend all these mass amount of women on the planet, which is impossible for that 20% to do. I'm sorry to tell you, but it's just the God's honest truth. That's not going to happen, because the 20%, when the shit hits the fan, they're going to go off into their own pleasure little islands, which is going to leave a vast amount of women out here to deal with the barbarians.
And a lot of men feel lost and lonely because of that. And I was championing to a degree their issues by saying to them, look, that is unfair perhaps, but that's the way the game works. You need to become a man of importance. You need to become a man of influence, or you're going to suffer the pain of being invisible forever. Here is how you do it. I wasn't trying to change the rules of the game. I was just telling the men how to win, because I came from nothing and I'm completely and utterly self-made. And I think the reason a lot of men are so depressed is because they feel invisible. They feel like the life is too hard. Women expect me to be strong and smart and funny and interesting with a nice apartment and a fast car and tall and well connected and funny, and it's just too much for them to handle. And the social pressure on men is absolutely immense. And I was championing their issues. And at the same time, all these social media platforms pretend to care. As soon as somebody they resonate with stands up and champions their issues, they mass blanket ban me, which shows they have absolutely no care for the young men of the world today. They think that by banning me, I'm just going to vanish and the young men are just going to go and start eating the gruel that they're fed on their YouTube feed. They don't want to read. They don't want to see transgender people wear makeup. They don't want to see that. They want to see a man who has a bunch of money and a nice life and some fast cars and is strong and is confident. They want an action hero. And that's something that large portions of the world still want to be. And YouTube and social media platforms obviously just don't like the idea of that. They want to get rid of me and try and replace me with something they see as far more malleable, trying to create people which are more malleable and more easy to program and more easy to control.
So
So that's the biz. You know, it kind of is what it is nowadays. I have nothing against anybody that wants to live their life the way they want to live it, but that's the whole point. We living in a society now where people can't live their life the way that they want to live. They can't be heard because of, agendas and other little things that people want to put out there. Just because this young man wants to live different from the next young man doesn't mean that we can't all get along. There's room enough on this planet for everybody. But don't stuff your ideas down my throat, just like I'm not trying to stuff my ideas down yours. It's just, we all could live on this planet and live in our own spaces, in our own ways. But it seems like it's coming to a point to where a certain minority is wanting to push certain things to have people in a certain alignment and adjust them thinking and adjust their ways and stuff like that. And no, that's just not cool. That's just not cool. But it is what it is. Like I said, this is your correspondent, Alan Taylor, and you've been watching the Bottom Line News. I thank you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Always hit that subscribe button and that like button. Thank you so much. And that, my friends, is the bottom line.